for this week is the Chicago Hustle. Since we're, in Chicago, which is where the Monkey Hustle was based, the book Chicago Hustle, written by Odie Hawkins. And the interesting thing about this was written in 1977. It's a Holloway House book. You remember I said Holloway House was the main publisher of a lot of the Blaxploitation paperbacks you'll see me cover. But Holloway House or Chicago Hustle was written by Odie Hawkins, and it turns out Odie Hawkins wrote the screenplay for the Monkey Hustle. And I always knew that when I got this book, Chicago Hustle, I knew that Odie Hawkins, the author, had written a screenplay for Monkey Hustle. But what I thought is it was the same story. So I was expecting to read this and, see Daddy Fox and Goldie, or be reading about Daddy Fox, Goldie, and the whole situation there. Turns out this is a totally different story altogether. This is about a small time hustlers, hustlers, con men in the book as well. But it's about a small time hustler named Elijah Brooks who does petty theft and con games. And in a nutshell, he, for a bigger score, he hooks up with this dude named Benny the Bandit, who's looking for a partner in a gambling house robbery. I just seem like a lot of these Blaxploitation paperbacks always involve ripping off a gambling house or ripping off dope dealers or something. Who knows? But anyway, things get a little twisted in this robbery and they wind up losing their loot. So, because when they robbed the gambling house, they got chased by the dudes. They had to stash the bread, and the bread got taken, or so they thought the bread was taken by somebody else. And so what ultimately happened is Benny the Bandit circled back when Elijah wasn't aware and took the loot and ran off with it. Now they both got popped and went to jail, but once Elijah got out, he hooked up with one of his men, this dude called Big Toe, and got into a legitimate con. He parlayed that into getting his game tight. He got a fresh apartment, fresh ride, and all that stuff. And he was doing well, but the lure of the game, the illegal game, drew him back in. And ultimately, he got back into the hustle. And unfortunately, how it ends up is he gets snuffed out by Benny the Bandit, who. Oh, I didn't mention this. When he found out Benny the Bandit had circled back and took the loot, he, basically opened up a can of whoop ass on Benny the Bandit. And ultimately, at the end, what happens is Benny the Bandit gets his revenge. So that's Chicago Hustle. But again, mistake I made was thinking because Odie Hawkins wrote the book and the screenplay, it was the same story. Totally different stories. Both take place in Chicago. Both involve con men and hustlers. But Monkey Hustle, feel good movie. Chicago Hustle, raw, gritty novel. All right.